get started. This is the regularly scheduled Utility Service Board meeting, and I can hear an echo. So if someone's got their audio on, maybe we could mute that. Thank you. We are going to start off with Vic Kelson giving us a explanation of the setup here in the boardroom. Vic?
Yeah, I just wanted to share with everyone that this is not a hybrid meeting. This is an in-person meeting, but we've set up a Zoom feed because the room limit is 15 people. So with the 15-person limit, we can't have a bunch of staff in here. We can't have a bunch of visitors. And if the public comes in to speak, right now we have 14 people in the room. So if 2 people come in, somebody will have to leave. Presumably one of us over here will have to step outside. So we're going to maintain the room limit, and CBU staff can join the meeting externally by Zoom. I have a speaker here on my computer, so if we are in a situation where there's a staff member speaking from outside, I'll turn my speaker on so you can hear it in the room. So we do have the equipment on order to convert the room to be suitable for hybrid meetings, but there's one of the critical components is experiencing shipping delays. The last I heard, it would be here mid-April. So we're going to be doing it this week for probably a couple of months. And it's worked out fairly well, but I'll make sure we have an external speaker next time. So this is not a hybrid meeting. If the public wants to attend, they have to attend in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. Yes, it's good for us all to be here together again, and there's people we haven't met. Welcome Seth and Kirk. If he were when he shows up, we can welcome him in person as well. Yes.
Just a question with our protocol with the meeting. I know when we previously had meetings in person, we didn't have to go down the row when we vote, with yays or nays. It was just a verbal. But when we went to Zoom, Latrina always had to call the roll. So are we going back to the just everybody yay, nay?
That's up to the board to decide how they want to vote. So
Can I chime in on that, Vic?
Can
you hear me?
Or you can ask to call the roll.
Yays and nays, I think, are preferable. Thank you for pointing that out. That's a good point of order. All right.
Back to how we used to be.
Yeah, okay. So our first agenda item is the approval of the minutes for the previous meeting. We have packets over here with all of the materials if anyone needs one, and I'd entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. And are there any questions about the minutes from last 2 weeks ago meeting? No questions. All in favor of approving the minutes from last meeting?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and I'm an aye. So the minutes are approved. Next up, we have approval of the claims. We have 4 different types of claims. We'll start with standard invoices, this time totaling $980,998.23. Do we have a motion for approval of the standard invoices?
So moved. Second.
And are there any questions about this set of standard invoices? No questions. Okay. For those that are in favor of approving the standard invoices, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, standard invoices are approved. Next up, we have utility bills totaling $261,327.20. Do I have a motion for approval of the utility bills?
Could you repeat that number again? Because I think I have a different number. Or
I have for the, I went to accounts payable.
okay.
So we have accounts payable, that's that.
261.
Utility bills. $261,327.20. What did I say?
Is that not that?
Something other than
Something
that.
I think it was different.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Do I have a motion for approval of the utility bills in that stated amount?
So moved?
Second?
Any questions about the utility bills? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have utility bills approved. Next up, we have wire transfers. Wire transfers, we got them sent separately. Do you have them?
Yeah.
Thank you. Wire transfers totaling $484,000, $877.07. Do you have a motion for approval of the wire transfers?
So moved?
Second?
Any questions about the wire transfers? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Wire transfers are approved. Last up, customer refunds totaling, $478,019. $482,000, $478.19. That's the biggest customer refund I've ever seen. Okay, and that's just two of them. Do we have a motion for approval of the customer refunds?
So moved?
Second?
Any questions on the customer refunds? Yes. Jean?
These are quite some totals, and I'm just wondering how we are doing a refund for $51,448 for adjustment for billed connection fees. Can we just have a little understanding of what that is?
I'm not sure this came from.
This is Nancy. My video went out. Nancy.
It is my understanding that that was an error that was on a particular connection, but I don't know the details of it.
And so the company paid that connection fee, and then that error was caught, and so we're refunding them?
Can someone hear me?
Hi, Laura Pettit, Assistant Director for Finance. When we calculate connection fees, we do an estimate at the beginning, and before we will, and I think they do it 3/4 of the estimated cost of the project. That way we don't install a bunch of infrastructure, have the customer decide they don't want it, and then we're out the money. So I believe what happened here was we had done an estimated payment for a customer. They went in and through the installation process realized that we had oversized the amount of infrastructure that they needed. So at the end of the project,
Nancy's here.
Nancy's here. She can,
Sorry, I was trying to chime in and it wasn't picking me up on the video. Nancy, Utilities Engineering. That was an error in billing. They got billed for the connection fees for water for a 4-inch meter and the connection fees for sewer based on a 4-inch meter, and it was all supposed to be for a 3-inch meter. So that difference on there is the difference in those two fees. You're welcome. Sorry for the delay. I was trying to get on.
Question on the other? Well, I'll ask the question on,
You could go.
yeah, the other.
What happened?
Yeah, if we can just get an explanation on the refund to Blooming Foods on the wastewater side.
okay, 1 second, I have it pulled up. So for Blooming Foods, the customer, Laura Pettit, Assistant Director for Finance. The customer had a water line leak in the pit area, and it caused an increase in their water consumption. Since the customer did not know how long there was a leak, we were able to go back 12 months and calculate what their average consumption was, which was they averaged 77 units per month. And so we were able to calculate that they had 3,945 units that were caused by this water leak. So the amount that was adjusted off was the wastewater portion of that.
Too.
It was. I don't have that number. I can get it. But yeah, that was, it was a big one. So, thanks.
Well, now with our smart meters, then
Yes.
hopefully there would be an alert if that would happen again.
I hope
Yes.
so. I hope they have
Okay.
their customer portal up and running and they're monitoring that, because if you know what your average usage is, you can get the, like I have the alert set up for my home. And so we definitely encourage our customers, especially ones that ask for adjustments, we direct them towards the portal and ask them to sign up for it. So, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. For those in favor of approving the customer refunds, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Excellent. That is all of the claims. Next up, we have approval of the consent agenda totaling $3,600. Vic Kelson.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, Vic Kelson, Utilities Director. I'm happy to bring our consent agenda for tonight, which totals $3,600. There's only one item to Davie Resource Group Incorporated. This is $3,600 to bring the new not to exceed up to $15,685. It's a second amendment to modify the scope and the not to exceed due to changes in federal laws on wetland permitting. So this is related to wetland permits at the Winston Thomas site. If there's no opposition to this, it will be approved as recommended by staff. Hearing no opposition, the item's approved. Thank you.
For approval of a memorandum of understanding with Monroe County for the cost share of a feasibility study. And back to Vic as well.
Good evening, Vic Kelson again. This one, we put it on here. This is a memorandum of understanding for a feasibility study related to a waste-to-energy project that we would presumably site at the Blucher pool site. The Solid Waste Management District Board did not act on this evening, so we're not asking you to act on it. But I would like to ask if we can put this in new business, and I can explain what it's all about then.
That sounds fine. Yes. So next up, we have a request for approval of Resolution 2022-01, bid acceptance and contract award for that's West, Fountain Drive Water Main Replacement Project. Jane Fleeg.
Thank you. Yes, Jane Fleeg, Utilities Engineer for the record. If you will recall, we opened bids at your last meeting, February 28th, for this project. It is the West Fountain Drive Water Main Replacement Project. We received 3 bids. We have reviewed those and tabulated them. The tabulation is also included with the resolution. The lowest responsive and responsible bidder was Reed & Sons Construction for a total of $312,810. And we would like to have a recommendation of acceptance from the board and authorization to contract with this contractor.
Okay, let's go ahead and do questions, if anyone has any for Jane. Okay, do we have a motion for approval?
So moved?
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Thank you. Next up, we have a request for approval of agreement with Potomac Electrical Services LLC, DBA Electrical Maintenance and Testing, First Amendment to expand scope with expiration date for repairs to the electrical breaker system at Blucher Pool Wastewater Treatment Plant. Tom Axum. Hi.
Tom Axum. I'd like to ask for your approval for a contract with Potomac Electrical Services. This is for work at the Blucher Pool plant. They're going to be doing cleaning and testing on a 480-volt switchgear and recondition a circuit breaker. They're also going to provide 2 backup generators so we can keep the plant in power while they're doing their work. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions for Tom? Do you have a motion for approval?
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion's approved. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. On to old business from the board. Old business from staff. New business from the board. New business from staff.
I have something. So what we've been talking about, you know, we've spoken a number of times about the potential for a waste-to-energy project where we would take wastewater sludge and other solid waste streams that are organic and compostable. There's been a study done by the Solid Waste Management District and a similar discussion among city sanitation that about 40% of the solid waste stream in Monroe County is compostable. It could be digested to make gas. We also, as you know, handle oil and grease at the Dillman plant, but we do not allow oil and grease from outside Monroe County to come in because we really don't treat it. It's in a lagoon there. This is something we looked at a couple of years ago. We did an internal study looking at how much gas we could make with the waste streams that we know that we have, and including food waste from IU and IU Health, the new hospital, and so forth. And because of the size of the digester we need to handle all the sludge from Dillman, it just didn't make sense to build something there. The other thing is that at the Dillman plant, we don't have what's called primary sludge. That's the stuff that just falls out when you bring the water to the wastewater plant. Dillman goes straight into aeration, so it doesn't have 2 stages of treatment. The Blucher pool plant, however, does have primary solids, the high energy solids, and but that plant is probably too small to justify an anaerobic digester all by itself. The question that we're looking at, though, is to consider this as more of a, not a wastewater sludge problem, but a solid waste problem. So that would include organic solid waste from our Blucher pool plant. That would include the food waste from large organizations like IU or the hospital. It could include, would obviously include all the oil and grease that we're already collecting at the Dillman plant. We just move it up there. It could include an expanded grease program where perhaps we would market the service outside of Monroe County for people to bring us grease. That's actually a going business in northern Indiana. We could also expand our organic waste collection, perhaps in conjunction with our food service establishment efforts with the grease interceptors and so forth. So we'd like to explore, the idea here is to explore all facets of this, including how you execute it, which could be a public-private partnership, it might be an outside vendor or whatnot. The Blucher pool plant has some advantages. First of all, we've got a lot of space down there that would probably be suitable to site something like this. It's not inconvenient to get there, and we have the possibility anaerobically digested solids can be composted and then used for land application, and conveniently we're surrounded by farms over there. So there are opportunities perhaps to keep most of our organic waste stream or a larger portion of our organic waste stream in the county rather than shipping it to landfill. So the purpose of the study is to look at all the dimensions of this in terms of how it could be executed, what would be the possible economics of the facility, and things like tipping fees, and we would probably generate electricity and sell it back to the Blucher pool plant. This would probably be operated as a community facility, not just a CBU facility, because there would be waste coming from multiple places. There would be, but we would most likely be the customer for any electricity or gas that it produced in excess. So the study also looks at things like what is the market for renewable energy credits. It looks at things like what would be the potential for external customers bringing us waste that we could put in the digester, all those kinds of things. And then all the other components of the benefits of a process like this that could be applied to a triple bottom line analysis of the facility. And then it would become a community-wide decision, presumably with the city, CBU, and Solid Waste Management District all participating together to make it happen if it looks like a good idea for our community. So that's what the study's about. The study would cost about $129,000, and we proposed to the county Solid Waste Management District that we go halfers with them on the study. And then presumably if the study shows that such a facility might be feasible or useful in the community and we decide to build it, then we would work out all those arrangements, who pays what would all be worked out at that point. So the Solid Waste District took it up this evening. We discussed it with them. They still have some questions. Their executive board and their CAC want to look it over and have more discussions, and presumably they're going to look at it again in April. So it may be a few weeks. We might be ready to bring it back to the board. But I can answer any questions that you might have about the idea.
Amanda?
Well, Vic, I can tell your excitement about this project because I know it's something that we've been talking about for several years. One of my questions is the city of Bloomington interested in contributing towards the project, because this is something that would essentially benefit the city of Bloomington as well as Monroe County CBU. Would they go into third? I mean, entertain coming into the contract with us for the feasibility study?
We can talk about that. I think that when we talked about it ourselves, Chris Wheeler and I worked together on this, and I've talked with other people. The solid waste component of a project like this is really our sanitation department, and everything they collect goes to the Solid Waste Management District. So everyone in the city is a resident of the county, and they're already paying into the Solid Waste Management District part of it. So this would be more of a, for our point of view, this would be handling some of our sludge, but also it would be it's important for us to be involved, because if it's sited at one of our plants, we want to be involved in how it's all set up. But I would certainly talk to the administration about it. Jim had his up.
Yeah, you mentioned the inclusion of IU and the hospital as kind of big players. Was there any talk about including restaurants or grocery stores, which have a lot of stuff that they dump, or even, I know we had talked, and the city has talked about setting up a compost collection, and could that be part of this as well?
Those are all in the mix in the study. Presumably, if we did a restaurant waste collection, that could be coordinated through the same program we already have for fats, oils, and grease. So we already have those relationships. It would be just coming up with a way that we could collect those wastes.
That'd be great, thank you.
Yeah, Gene.
So I think for this first step of engaging a study and funding that, that needs to be done first. Down the road, let's say we do decide to move forward with something like this. Do you know if there are any state or federal dollars that are dedicated to projects like this that we could go after towards funding ultimately?
That research is also in the study.
Excellent.
Yes.
Other questions? Well, thank you, Vic. It sounds like we'll have more opportunity for questions as we mull this over, and as you provide, hopefully, more information about the study before we'd commit to anything. Just a point of clarification. So I know we had a revised page for this study, and you said it was $129,000 for the entire study, or that would be our portion of it?
Entire study, ours would be half of that, yeah.
Half of that. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so we are on to subcommittee reports.
Committees.
Okay. Then I need to go to my last page of the agenda, which, oh, there we go. Staff reports.
We're glad to be back here. On behalf of all of the CBU staff, I would like to thank all the board members for coming back. We're glad to be back in person. We will have this room set up for hybrid meetings, but it will take a while. So we'll continue to do it this way for a period of time. We don't have any other big news except for that the new chemical feed building at the Monroe intake is complete. And we're going to be ready to start feeding the copper sulfate algicide and the permanganate from the new feed system. That's freed up a lot of space inside the intake tower. And be happy to take anyone who would like to go down and see it, any board members who would like to go and see it. Happy to take you on a tour to see the new facility. They did a beautiful job on the building, and we're getting ready to get the intake tower all cleaned up and organized again. So it's going to be great down there. The projects at Blucher Pool and Dillman are still just moving along. So I really don't have anything else.
It would be great to organize now that we can be more together. Try to find a time that would be convenient, maybe 1 or 2 times that we could attend as a group.
Try and get that arranged. I would like to thank Katz and Holly and Chris Eberly from our staff for the effort to get the room set up. This room is also serving as the city's COVID testing facility right now. So the vendor that was doing that work, they finished their day at 3:30 and got everything set out of here, and then our staff came and got everything set up, and Katz set up their equipment. So I'm very happy that we were able to get this done in time.
Thank you, yes. Any other staff reports? Petitions and communications. And do we have people? No, not on, okay. So, from anyone? All familiar faces here. Anyone from Katz? No? Okay. Then we just need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you, we are adjourned.